Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Hi, my name is Philip Helmbright, and welcome to the presentation of my Better World project for the Executive Leadership Certification of the National Society of Leadership and Success. The title of my project is Restoring Balance to Promote Recovery, and it is comprised of 5 different goals using the SMART goal techniques. The goals are spread across physical development, intellectual pursuit, emotional care, ethics, and service to others. For my physical development goal, I decided to develop a daily walking habit and to track it using a walking-related app. For my intellectual pursuit, I decided to complete an online course with certification and textbook in a subject area related to my field entitled Group Trauma Treatment in Early Recovery. For emotional care, I developed a daily meditation practice in the style of loving kindness meditation, also known as Metta Bhavana. This is a Buddhist practice aimed at compassionate self-care. For ethics, I completed an online ethics course entitled Walking the Ethical Line in Providing Telemental Health Services, also with an accompanying certification. This is within my professional field. And for service to others, I fleshed out a program of vocational counseling to roll out within the context of an addiction recovery advocacy program. And this was something that I have been passionate about doing for quite some time. And I implemented it over the course of 5 weeks with a group of several individuals, and basically provided some counseling to help some individuals in early addiction treatment and early addiction recovery to explore their interests and dreams and goals, and how they can return to the workforce or to return to education. And we also then looked at ways they could link to vocational rehabilitation services provided by the state to help access assistance for that purpose. The major milestones I was able to complete within each goal: for the physical development, for my daily walking practice, some days I was able to really, bang it out and walk quite a long distance. Other days it was a rather short commitment. So I would say from the least, it was, just a real quick 10, 15-minute, jaunt, to the longest, it would be, an hour or more a day. And I selected the Sweatcoin app as my preferred walking app to track it. For the intellectual goal, I did complete a 12-hour credit course, as mentioned. The emotional one, this one actually was probably the goal that had the biggest impact that I wasn't expecting, to be honest. I would say that I started off with about 5 minutes a day and worked myself up to about 10 minutes. It's a standard script. One can easily find this if you look for loving kindness practice meditation. You can find how to do this online. It's very, very simple. I found it to be very effective. It was very surprising in terms of what sort of breakthrough it provided in me, actually. It was very, very powerful. For ethics, I did complete a 3-hour credit course. And then for the service project, this was a lot of fun. Worked with several individuals, about a dozen folks, and as mentioned, we explored interests that they had, helped each individual to really kind of flesh out what they would like to do as they return to the workforce, or to higher education, and or to a trade certification, and helped each one to kind of think about ways to get there, to get from where we were now to where they could be. And I provided information ultimately to how they could connect with the local Office of Vocational Rehabilitation for where they intended to locate eventually. The first photo here on the left is just a screenshot from the Sweatcoin app showing progressive increased steps. The next two photos are from the group trauma treatment in early recovery certification course that I completed. First photo here on the left is actually is just a snapshot of one example loving kindness meditation guided video from YouTube. Again, you can find several examples of this. The middle photo is the certification from the ethics course I completed, walking the ethical line in providing telemental health services. And the final photo is a set of sample questions I developed to explore with individuals during the service project. I also developed a few other resources to provide to them along the way. One of the requirements in the project is to identify a leadership skill that we employed during the course of the Better World project. I would say that flexibility was the leadership skill that I demonstrated the most, not only in terms of working with others during the vocational project, which obviously was a very fluid sort of experience. As I mentioned here, I kind of had to meet people where they were and kind of adapt kind of in the moment to be able to kind of help them to figure out where they would want to be and how to get there, which is very flexible in itself. But I also had to be flexible with myself as well. I actually ended up having one goal at the start that I changed along the way, and that would have been the intellectual goal. I started off thinking I wanted to do one thing and ended up changing it to something else when I realized it just wasn't a good fit during the timeline of the project. Another component of the project is to apply the SWOT analysis, looking back on the project after we've completed it, so that we can gain insight into the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats components of the project. So looking at what went well and what the greatest successes of the project were, I would say that the individuals I worked with for the vocational component and the service aspect, they really did give feedback that they really enjoyed it. They got a lot out of it, and they seemed to really appreciate it. They expressed feeling very inspired by the time we spent together, and really felt a sense of forward momentum. I would say that where the project could really be work to have some improvement was that the sessions that I had working with the individuals didn't always have very clear goals. On one hand, they may have been very flexible, but they didn't always have a very good structure to them. So that meant that they took a lot of time to kind of come together. So that fluidity kind of left some too much open space, I guess you could say. An opportunity, what would I do differently? And how could my leadership skills have been used? I would say that I probably could have, if I would do it again, I would employ the other participants, the individuals I'm working with, more specifically to help kind of flesh out what their goals are a little bit more systematically from the start. And then also to have just simply more tools to bring to the table to offer them. Threats are what issues that were out of my direct control that impacted the project. The setting in which I employed the service project was constrained a bit by the facility, and so that was something out of my control. So ideally, I would do this in a better facility, and that was probably because I didn't do a very good job, honestly, of communicating what the goal was of my project to those that agreed to host it. Another method that we are taught in the course to analyze the project is called the Kolb method. So this uses 4 different steps to reflect upon how one undergoes a project. So applying the experience that one has, doing something, and then reflecting on your observations from it, abstracting a concept from that reflection, then making an experiment actively to plan for the next time, and then putting that back into a concrete experience and repeating that cycle. In my case, I would say the concrete experience I had were the participants expressing some confusion about the specific goals about our work together. So reflecting on that is that I made some assumptions that weren't exactly very good. The participants would grasp the context of that work more quickly as it applied to them. So my abstract conceptualization of that is that in the future, I will collaborate with participants to explore work and education-related goals at the start of the program a little bit more specifically. And so an active experiment to plan how this was learned upon is that I would practice by inviting individuals to flesh out their goals at each session as part of planning, and then to hopefully have a better experience moving forward. So each component of the project I selected because I could identify how each of my 5 goals would improve me individually and ultimately to feedback to help make me a better, stronger person and leader moving forward, both in my personal life and my professional life. As mentioned, I developed the leadership skill of flexibility, and have provided evidence to support the development and growth along each of the goals that I selected. I utilized the SWOT and Kolb models to analyze my project. And my recommendations to future students working on the Better World project would be to definitely take your time with this work, get an early start. Don't rush it. I would definitely allow yourself to change your goals along the way if you find that your original idea was not a good fit, and to go easy on yourself. This is a lot of work, and you have to be kind. I appreciate your attention. Thank you so much, and I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you.